Hello, welcome to episode 140 of the Craft House Magic podcast. My name's Ellie and I'm coming to you from Norwich in Norfolk in the UK, and today is the 5th of November. So welcome everybody. I hope you've all had a lovely crafty week since the last time I've spoken to you, and I'm here to share all the things that I've been making in the last 7 days. So today I have a little bit of knitting, some crochet, some embroidery, including some cross stitch as well. I have a gadget to share with you, and I may have one or two confessions. Oh dear. I do have some questions from the Ask Me Anything thread, but I'm going to leave those till next week, I think, just because I've got quite a busy day today. So you can find me on Instagram, Ravelry and Facebook as Craft House Magic, and I have my own website, crafthousemagik.co.uk, where you can find my handmade project bags, hand-dyed yarns, stitch markers, HiyaHiya knitting needles, clover and more crochet hooks, and also bag making supplies like fabrics and wadding, etc. So we have two Makalongs going on at the moment. The Craft House Magic Gift Along 2020, which is both on Ravelry, and also you can use this hashtag CHM Gift Along 2020 on Instagram as well, and share with us all the things that you're making for gifts for people. So it can be for the festive season, it can be a birthday gift, it can be a gift just because, or a gift for yourself. Anything that goes really, as long as you could sort of link it in. And we've also got the Autumn Makes Craft Along in the Ravelry group and on Instagram as well, and the hashtag is Autumn Makes Craft Along, and you can just come and join in anything that's linked to the autumn. So anything that can be linked to autumn, whether it's the yarn, whether it's the pattern, whether it reminds you of autumn in some way, anything like that. So do come and join us with those. Oh, I forgot to say the gift along is going right until the end of December, so you have plenty of time to join in with that one, and the Autumn Makes Craft Along goes till the 15th of November. So let's get on with the good stuff, shall we? We will start with the knitting as usual, and I'm afraid I've only got one project to show you because they are very, very long rows. So I'm now going to show you my Slipstravaganza. So if you don't want to see it, if you're still sort of working along with the clues, although to be honest I haven't done much of clue 4, I will put a timestamp on the screen and also in the description bar below. So this is my Slipstravaganza I'm going to show now. Ta-da! It looks like I've done very little since the last podcast. I've basically done from about there, and it's probably about 6 rows, I would say. But the rows are massive, absolutely massive. I think this is possibly the longest row of stitches I've had on the needles ever. There's just over 900 stitches, so they're actually now, even though I've got 2 cables joined together, they're not spreading out completely, so you can't really see the full effect. So we have, this was the section 5, I think it was, clue 3, with the little triangles, and then I've been doing these sort of chevrons around the outside with some slip stitches just in the middle there, and I've literally just done the main colour, which is this grey, and just started off with contrast colour 1, and there's going to be lots of those stripes. But I'm not going to worry too much, I'm just going to take my time and enjoy the knit. The yarns that I am using, the main colour, the grey, is my own hand-dyed yarn, and it's Living on a Prayer colourway, and it's the MCN base that I'm using because that goes well with the other yarns that I'm using. And I've got 3 contrast yarns. So the first one I've got to show you is the Fondant Fibre, and this is my contrast colour 1, and this is the Austin base, which is superwash merino, cashmere and nylon, and the colourway is called Sentimental Journey. So that's the first one. My contrast colour 2, which is this one, is by Lolodidit, and the colourway is called I Love Daryl. And I believe that's a Walking Dead reference, but I've never watched it, so I've got no idea. So that's my contrast colour 2, and my last but not least, my contrast colour 3 is Blue Skinned Yarns, and this is called Spanish Lullabies. So those 3 together, I'm not showing these very well, and this is what I've got left of my main colour, which is just a tonal grey really, which I think brings those together nicely. And I'll show you my shawl again. I'm really pleased I decided to do this mystery knit along. It is so much fun getting a clue each week and just a joy to knit. So once that's blocked out, I think it's going to look really lovely, and because it's sort of grey, I think it'll go with lots of outfits, which is always good. Unfortunately, I've got a lot of ends to sew in. So Stephen suggests weaving it in as you go, but I did start to do that, but because this is sort of on, well, not larger needles, but it's sort of a medium gauged shawl, it's not the tightest knit. I didn't like the way that the yarn was staying in at the back. It wasn't as neat as I wanted it to be. I would do that sort of weaving in as you go technique with socks and things with a tighter gauge, but not with something that's more open weave like this one. But it is a joy to knit, and I'm just going to have a sewing in ends party with a nice box of chocolates, I reckon. Oh dear. So that is the project that I've been knitting on this week. I have actually been doing some little sample knits of my new sock pattern that's going to come out at the end of November, but I'm not going to show you that. I'm going to keep it a secret. So that's what I have been working on this week, but I can't show you. But I do have some crochet to show you. So this is what I'd completed last week. I'd made a lovely little leaf, and this pattern is called 4 Leaves, and it's by Michelle at the Painted Hinge. It's a free pattern. You can go there. Well, I found it on Ravelry, and there's a link there to her website where she's written out the pattern on her blog, and there's lots of adverts in between. So what I did was I copied the instructions onto a Word document and just printed it out so that I could read it more easily. So I've done that one, and then I've done some others to go with it. So I've done this little orangey one. I've got this sort of grey with auburn tones in it. I have a red, and last but not least I've got this one that's got a bit of purples and blacks and sort of auburn notes in there as well. So I've done this little set, and they're actually crocheted out of my little mini set, which is the autumn mini set. This one is I Put a Spell on You, this one is Thriller, this one is Garden of Shadows, this one is Pumpkin Patch, and this one's Pumpkin Vine. So there are some other colours in there. I've got a tonal black and a tonal purple in there, but I didn't know whether those would look right as the leaves. But I am going to make this into a garland. I'm thinking maybe like an I-cord and join them all on, throwing them all over the place. And I was thinking that I could crochet or do some felting and do some little acorns to go on there as well. I'm not quite sure whether I'm going to attach my pumpkin which I've made to it, but we shall see. But at least I've made a good start with all the leaves, so they're looking quite cute. I don't know whether I'm going to block them, because I do quite like them sort of curling up at the edges there, just because it reminds me of how autumn leaves look when they're sort of drying out a little bit. So for the leaves, I'm using a 3.5mm crochet hook for these, just because I'm using a 4-ply weight yarn instead of the called for Aran weight yarn, because they'll be slightly smaller. And this is one of my favourite crochet hooks. This is the Clover and More crochet hook with a nice grippy handle, and I'm now selling these in my shop, which I'm very excited about. I can get any of the sizes I need out of my shop, which is very naughty. Anyway, I shall now go on to my other crochet project, which I haven't shown you in a while, but I have been slowly chipping away at this. So I'm not quite sure how much I've done since the last time I showed you, but it does feel quite massive. So let's start from the corner which I started from. So it's crocheted corner to corner. It's called the Corner to Corner Crochet Blanket, and I got the pattern from a YouTube tutorial by Bella Coco, and I'll leave a link up in the corner and also in the description bar in the show notes. And I am basically crocheting up all my little scraps with a strand of undyed yarn so that I can just sort of blend the colours in a little bit. I have I've done that much round the corner of this side, so I've turned the corner on both sides now. This side isn't so long because I wanted to make it slightly rectangular pattern, and you can't really see the whole thing very well. But it's getting rather large. What I should do actually is lay it out on the floor so you can see it a little bit better. But you can see how I've actually used some larger pieces on this section where it is at the widest point, but I want to make use of some of the smaller scraps that I've got in my stash as well. And I'm hoping to put some sort of edging around the edge. I think my favourite section is here where I've been putting all the smaller scraps in. I shall have to do that again when I get to the smaller edge. So the rows are still quite long at the moment. So it's that, and that is the length of a row, but it is decreasing now, so hopefully it'll be getting quicker for each row. And it is just a lovely mindless knit I can just get on with really well. I've just run out of the last ball I've been using of the undyed yarn, so I'll have to cake another one up ready. But I just really love the texture of this blanket. It's just such a joy to sort of touch and feel. But there we go, that's my crochet to show you. Oh, I forgot to say, I was using a 4mm hook for this one with the 2 strands of yarn, two strands of 4-ply crocheted together at once. And I did actually think, to start with, before I did the 2 strands at once, I thought, oh, that might be a little bit fiddly. But once you get into it, it's no bother at all having the 2 strands there. So let's get onto my embroidery section. So I started last week a little sort of autumnal scene of a pumpkin. Just doing some free embroidery. I just wanted to sort of challenge myself and design the pattern myself and just have a play, really. So this is how I've got on. I don't feel as if I've done loads this week just because I've been so busy in the shop, but I have enjoyed having a go at this one. So I've basically done some chain stitch around the edge on the lines of the pumpkin, and then I've started doing these vines. They're all in a chain stitch at the moment. I perhaps should have done the vines in a stem stitch instead to have a bit of contrast, but I've quite enjoyed doing those. I did add a few little French knots here just to give a little bit of texture, but I'm not sure whether I should have done that or not. I'll see how I get on. I can always sort of pull them out. You can see how there's vines all the way around the edge here, and a second pumpkin that I've just sketched in one of those friction pens. I did test the fabric before and I know that that'll come off with heat, so when I give it a little steam, once I finish, that'll all disappear. So the frame that I'm using actually is a confession, really. So last week I showed you that I'd bought a 25cm one of these, so I went back and I ordered a smaller one so I could use it for this project. I think this one was a 20cm one, maybe. I think something like that. I will leave a link to the exact product in the description bar down below anyway. I got this from Minerva Crafts, and I really like these because this wider rim around the edge, I feel as if it grips the fabric a little bit better, and also because it's joined to this stem without it having to be clipped onto anywhere near the fabric, there's no chance the fabric is going to get sort of stretched there. And I've got a lap stand that I pop this into. I did show you on last week's podcast if anyone's interested in sort of seeing that. And you can see I've got another lovely needle minder from Chapel View Crafts, which is absolutely gorgeous. I picked this one on the basis of it going with a sort of autumnal theme. I felt that the breadboard was the best match. Even though I have got newer needle minders, I feel that it has to match the embroidery. How weird is that? So there we go, that's how I'm getting on with my free embroidery. And I've got my cross stitch to show you next. So if you haven't been watching, I've been doing a little bit every day, 20 minutes every day, on this gorgeous sampler pattern by Moira Blackburn, and that's what it's supposed to look like. And I'm going to show you my embroidery now. So, ta-da! I have done all this side of the bottom band there, and I'm hoping I can get this side finished by next week, and then I'll be on to the outside border. And that outside border looks so much quicker than the rest of it. Let's zoom in a little bit there. It seems quite a wide border compared to the other sections that I've done before. It's quite a time-consuming border to do. I think I've been doing this for at least a couple of weeks now, but hopefully get that side finished by next week. But I am quite pleased with how that's looking. This is quite a stiff Ada, and it's an 18 count Ada, and it came in a kit with the pattern that I picked up, and it was from a charity shop, so it must have been quite a long time when this particular kit was put together. But they have got them back in stock, and so I've popped a link in the description bar of where you can get it from, at least from a UK supplier anyway. So that's my cross stitch, and I have a gadget to share with you this week. So I have shared this one with you before, but I did notice that a couple of people had commented on a couple of videos that I've done like ages ago about, oh, where did you get this from? Because on a couple of videos I didn't link it in, so I shall say about it again. So this is a button gauge and a point turner all in one. To be honest, I don't really use it as a button gauge, but I really find this corner here is a really good point turner for when I'm making sort of pockets and things, and turning things inside out and making sure that the corner's nice and square. I just find that a nice useful edge to use. So this is made by Hemline, and I have no idea where I picked it up from because they sell them in lots of different places. But I will pop a link in the description bar where you can get yours from if you're interested in looking for a point turner. So it's also got measurements down the side, inches this side and centimetres this side, and it's just quite useful to have by your sewing machine if you just want to quickly measure a small distance without having to sort of reach for your long tape measure. So it's a nice gadget to have next to your sewing machine. So that's the gadget for this week. I'm sorry it's probably repeated, but I can't remember how long ago I showed it as a gadget, so I'm sure you'll all find it useful if you haven't got one already. So I've got my confessions next. Oh dear. I may have, when I was writing the show notes on last week's podcast, I may have looked on the Fabrics Galore website on the jersey section to find a link to put something in for last week's podcast, and I was like, oh, I've seen that before. I think I'm going to have some of that. So this is what caught my eye to start with. It is this gorgeous, gorgeous jersey fabric. I absolutely love this. It is so pretty, and it's just that lovely sort of dusky muted pink in the background as well. So I had to pick up a metre of this because I thought, oh, t-shirt, need to have a t-shirt out of that. So I got a metre of that one, and then I was looking next to it, and not only was there the pink colourway, but there was also this navy as well. So what did I have to do? I had to have some navy. Isn't that lovely? I actually thought, now this has arrived, maybe I should have got 2 meters of this so I could make a dress. I think that would make a nice dress, a nice stretchy, comfy dress. We shall see if I resist purchasing another meter, but I need to use some more fabric. Oh dear. Before I purchase any more. And then, because I was looking on Minerva Crafts again at those hoops, and I wanted the smaller one as well as the larger one I got last week, I then purchased the hoop that I showed you on my embroidery. But then also I just thought, I'll just have a look at Art Gallery Fabrics and see what jerseys they've got. So I picked up a metre of this, and oh my goodness, look at that. It's cats. I've got it the wrong way up, that would help. There we go. You can see how cute are those cats. I absolutely love this, and this colour as well is really pretty. So I had to have a metre of that, but I had a message to say they didn't have a whole metre left, they only had 90 centimetres. So I said, yeah, that's fine, I can squeeze out a t-shirt out of 90 centimetres. So I have the last 90 centimetres from Minerva Crafts. But it is an Art Gallery fabric, and a lot of places do sell this, and I have seen it in a navy colourway I think before. So it's called Catalyst Odyssey K72494 on the selvage. See if I can show you that a little bit better. So if you are looking for this fabric, it is an Art Gallery fabrics, and quite a few people stock the Art Gallery fabrics if you wanted to get hold of this. I hadn't seen it in this colourway before, you see, so I quickly had to snap it up. I almost got it in navy a while ago, but now I've got the blue, so I'm very happy. And then I thought, well, I can't just buy one fabric, can I? So I'd had my eye on this for ages, and that's just gorgeous. Another art gallery fabrics, and I just got a meter to do a t-shirt with, and I shall show you what this one's called as well. This one's called Shore Remains Splendid, and like I said, it's an art gallery fabric. You can find that quite easily. Just love this, absolutely gorgeous. I thought that, yes, I think that looked nice on me. Oh dear. Right, so that's all the naughty fabric purchases I've got. And lastly, for my confessions, I have another purchase from lovely Cheryl of Chapelview Craft. I had to pick up a Chelsea bun because that is the cutest. Really gorgeous, and I bought it with the lobster clasp. And then she'd had these ice bun needle minders on her Instagram page. I hadn't got them listed yet, and I contacted her and said, can I have one please, Cheryl? And she tells me that she should be able to have them on her website on pre-order this week, so watch out for that. But how cute are those little ice buns? And this is a needle minder, so it's for keeping your needles safe while you're doing embroidery. It's got a little magnet on the back that you put the other side of the fabric, and you can keep your needle nice and safe. But isn't that gorgeous? Look at that detail. Absolutely love it. And I have a bit of collection of Cheryl's needle minders going on. I shall have to have a bit of a reveal of all my needle minders and stitch markers and things over Vlogmas, I think. So watch out for Vlogmas this year, because I will be doing it. It'll probably be very, very craft based rather than me going out anywhere. I might have some little mini tutorials in there and things for you to follow along with, to have the festive spirit. So I think that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I shall see you in the next episode. Bye!